All right, everybody, welcome back. You're ready to dive in? Today, we are looking into this whole Tesla Optimus robot thing.
Sounds good.
This is, Elon Musk's whole vision of robots taking over all these tasks we do every day.
Yeah.
I mean, like, almost picture having Rosie from the Jetsons just, like, living in your house,
Right.
doing all your chores and stuff.
Exactly.
He's even saying they could be as cheap as, like, $20,000, maybe $30,000. Which, I mean, that's wild, right?
Yeah, that's less than a lot of cars out there these days.
Totally. So it has everybody talking, but
Well,
there's some skepticism.
yeah, I think a lot of people came away from those Optimus demos wondering, like, how much was the robot really doing things on its own
Oh, totally.
versus how much was it, like, being controlled by somebody behind the scenes, you know?
Right, like the puppet master thing.
Exactly. The puppet master.
So that's what we're going to get into today. Like, how much of this is real?
Yeah, how far off is this vision, really?
Yeah, and like, what are the real challenges to making this happen?
Right.
Because the tech it's impressive, but
Oh, yeah, it's definitely impressive. But I think what those demos really highlight is just how far AI still has to go.
Mm.
Like, we don't have robots that can just make decisions on the fly in a complicated situation, like the real world.
yeah, like, I mean, it's one thing in a controlled environment,
Right.
but like out in the world, like we don't even have self-driving cars yet that fully work, right?
Exactly. And that's a simpler problem than, like, a robot that's supposed to
Do everything.
do all sorts of different things. Yeah.
Okay, maybe like the robot butler who makes you a perfect martini is a ways off.
Maybe not in our lifetime, huh?
But like, what about something simpler? Like, what if I just want a robot to like fold my laundry?
Right. Even that.
How far off is that?
It's further than you think, because even something like folding laundry, for a robot, it needs to see, okay, what kind of fabric is this?
Mm.
How heavy is this piece of clothing? How much force do I need to use?
Mm.
What if it's tangled up with something? We do all that without even thinking.
Right.
But for a robot, that's a ton of calculations and decisions it has to make.
Yeah, because it's not just like one set of instructions.
No, every time it's a little different.
We've got to be adapting.
Exactly, and AI just isn't there yet.
And Musk doesn't just talk about like physical tasks, right? He talks about robots like having conversations,
Right.
understanding our emotions, like basically being almost like another person.
Yeah, like having a real relationship with them, almost.
Yeah, how realistic is any of that?
I mean, some experts think we are decades, maybe even centuries away from anything like that.
Wow.
Because that's not just programming a computer, that's like trying to copy how the human brain works.
Right.
And we are a long way from understanding that.
Okay, so robot revolution, maybe not happening tomorrow,
Probably not.
but there's a more like immediate thing people are worried about,
Yeah.
which is what happens to our jobs.
That's the big question, right?
Yeah, Musk talks about these robots taking over the boring, repetitive jobs. But like, think about what you do for work. Could a robot do your job?
Yeah, it's a question everyone's going to have to ask themselves, I think.
And honestly, it's not just about those boring jobs, right?
No, not at all.
Like you think about manufacturing, transportation.
Data entry, all kinds of stuff.
These robots could change whole industries.
Yeah, if they can do all the things Musk says they can.
Which brings up a whole other set of problems,
Yeah.
right? Like, what do we do with all those people whose jobs get taken over?
Right, we got to think about retraining people, maybe some kind of safety net for people who lose their jobs.
Yeah, it's not just the tech, it's how we adapt as a society.
Exactly. We got to be prepared for these changes.
And then there's the maybe the scariest part of this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which is like these military uses, this Optimus, it's remote controlled, which is fine for a demo. But what happens when that's in like a war zone?
Yeah, that's where it gets really unsettling.
We're talking robot soldiers
Potentially making decisions about who lives or dies.
without a human involved at all.
Right, and then who's responsible when something goes wrong.
That's a whole other level.
It's like a sci-fi movie, but it's something we really got to think about now.
Yeah, before this stuff gets too far along.
Absolutely. We need rules. We need ethical guidelines for this.
Right, and how do we even make sure like rogue governments or something don't get a hold of this tech?
That's a huge concern, too.
And all this makes you wonder about how Musk promotes his stuff.
Yeah.
It's not just robots, right?
Right.
Remember all the hype around self-driving cars?
Oh, yeah. Years ago.
And they're still not fully here
Nope.
because there's a lot of hurdles they haven't cleared.
For sure.
So it makes you think, like, is he overselling this robot thing too?
It's possible. I mean, he's great at getting people excited,
Oh, yeah.
getting investment, getting the best engineers to work on these problems.
Right. He paints a really compelling picture of the future.
He does, but sometimes the reality doesn't match up.
Right. And then people get disillusioned.
Exactly. They lose trust.
So I guess what we're left with is this picture of Optimus.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's potentially amazing, but also maybe a little scary.
Right. And we got to be realistic about what it can actually do right now.
Totally. Not get swept up in the hype.
Exactly.
But this does bring up, like, a bigger question.
Yeah.
If these robots do become a big part of our lives, what role do we want them to play?
That's a question for all of us to think about.
Right. Like, are they just tools?
Or are they going to be something more than that?
Are they going to replace human connection?
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's not just about the tech. It's about the future we're building.
Exactly. It's about what we value.
That's a lot to think about. Wow.
It is. Haha.
But it's a conversation worth having.
Absolutely.
And we want to hear what you think. Head over to our forum. Let us know your thoughts, hopes, fears, all that.
Yeah, jump into the conversation.
Because this is something that's going to affect all of us. So let's talk about it.
Exactly.
All right. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See you then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.